What's up, guys, and welcome to Down South Finance. My name is Monty, and today we're going to be discussing the Roth IRA and why you should have this investment account in your portfolio. Let's get on to the video. All right, some basic information about the Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account that allows qualified withdrawals on a tax-free basis provided you meet the requirements when you do so, that being that you're 59 and a half before you can start withdrawing from the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA was established in 1997 by a senator in Delaware named William Roth, hence Roth IRA. The great thing about the Roth IRA is that it's funded after tax money. So say you get a paycheck, $600 a week. Once that paycheck is taxed, you then can put that money within the Roth IRA. After that, once you withdraw, there would be no taxes taken out of it. And it can keep growing tax-free as well within the account. A Roth IRA is a great option because if you think your taxes are going to be higher when you retire than they are now, it's good to go ahead and get started on this. The Roth IRA is great if you're in high school or a college student, just to go ahead and start contributing, even if it's a few $1,000s a year or $100 a year. The reason for that is because they limit how much money you can put into the account if you're single or married. So if you're single, you make $140,000 a year or more, you can't contribute to a Roth IRA anymore. And that being the same for if you're married and you make over $208,000, you cannot contribute to the account anymore. You can contribute $6,000 per year if you're under 50, and then if you're above 50, you can contribute $7,000 a year. Those being the criteria of $140K and $208K a year, single or married. Most banks and brokerages have a Roth IRA. I had mine in a credit union, and it wasn't getting a large return on my investment, so I switched over to a brokerage. And the brokerage I choose is Vanguard, and I was able to invest in ETFs and bonds. I have a lazy man portfolio, only invest in 3 ETFs and 1 bond ETF, and we can talk about that later in this video. There are no required minimums with the Roth IRA, like 401ks and traditional Roths, and it can be funded from different sources: regular contributions, your spouse or IRA contributions, transfers, rollover contributions, and conversions to a Roth IRA from a traditional. Contributions must be made for that year, and you have up until April 15th of the following year, which is the tax filing year. So you have 4 more extra months to put in, so 2022, I need $2,500 more for the fiscal year of 2021. I have until April 15th to put that money in there. So you can go ahead and do that. And if you make $5,500 just for example in one calendar year, that is the max amount of money you can put in that account. So if you make $5,500, that is the max you can't put anymore because your income for that year cannot increase. And then this is based off your MAGI, or your modified adjusted gross income, which means after all your deductions are taken into consideration, dividends, interest, and all that information, if you're filing married or single, is what the Roth IRA is elected off of. As I said previously, the contribution amount starts to phase out until you reach the $208,000 income a year if you're married. $198K, it starts taking off roughly about $500 per $1,000 until $208K. And then for single, it starts at $125K. The reduction from $6,000 goes down all the way until you hit $140K. And then after $140K, you can't contribute anymore to that account, which is why it's important to jump onto this as soon as possible before you start making more money where you can't invest into the Roth IRA anymore. Alrighty, guys, so I invest in 4 funds within Vanguard: VYM, VTI, VOO, and BND, which is a bond ETF. And I break it down into 2,000 for VYM, 2,000 for VTI, and then 2,000 for VOO. And whatever's left over, I get put into the bond fund. Unfortunately, Vanguard isn't like Webull or other type of like Robinhood, where you can invest in fractional shares. So whatever's left over from whatever the portfolio is of $6,000, say there's like a couple $100 left, I invest into BND. So that's how it looks. But for VYM, it's a Vanguard high dividend yield ETF. You can see the risk right here, what's invested in. So if you invested $10,000 in 2011, you'd be at 34K. You can see this year's been a crazy year with a 37% return, which is insane. But since inception in 2016, about an 8.5% return, which is pretty average. You can see the breakdown: basic materials, utilities, and the top 10 largest holdings within this ETF. JP Morgan being the top, Verizon being at the bottom. It makes up 23%. Let's go over to VTI. VTI is a total stock market ETF, which means that 1,500 shares roughly within this ETF. So it tracks everything. Same risk. Rate of return, 44.4%, which is large, but since inception in 01, about 8.8%. If you put $10,000 back in 2011, you see in 2021 about 43K. So you can see some return on your great amount of return on your money. The largest consumer is 15.7%, is the largest in this portfolio. Apple being 1, then Johnson & Johnson being 10, makes up about 23.6%. So then you have VOO, which is Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. It tracks the largest 507 companies within the S&P 500 index. And then you can see 40% return, about a 15.8% return since 2010. Invest in $10,000 in 2011, you would get about 45K return. Largest is consumer right here. Healthcare is pretty large. Information technology, 27%. Largest company being Apple, invested in, as well as Johnson & Johnson being the top 10. So 28.6% is the total net assets with this in account. And then the bond, it's very small portion. Defense, you can see the risk potential has slowed down as well to 2. Like I said, I don't invest a lot of money in here. This year, obviously, you can see it's in the negatives, but on average, a 4-point-something% return. You invested at $10,000, you'd roughly get about 13K. So you've been like $3,000 within a 10-year time frame. And it shows you the bond breakdown from U.S. government and our AAA rating with the credits. So, but yeah, this is what I invest in. So I invest 2,000, 2,000, 2,000 into these VYM, VTI, VOO. The video description / the thumbnail, this is the good stuff. I'm sorry it was long with an answer to get to the Roth IRA calculator and how you can be a millionaire by retirement age. But in any type of normal pay period circumstance, you get paid 26 times a year. That's bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. If you did 6,000 divided by 26, you're going to get $230 roughly every pay period you can take out to contribute to your Roth IRA. But if you want the exact numbers, $230.77. So with this calculator, I had a normal investment of just $1,000 already into Roth IRA. I then put the annual contribution you can make per year, which is $6,000. Rate of return is 6%, and usually around 7 to 8%, but I did a percent lower. I'm currently 26, so it's starting at 26 for myself, with, like I said, being married. So if you contribute $6,000 per year from 26 all the way up to age 67, you're going to get a rate of return. You're going to have your balance at 1,000,000.06 at the age of 67. So taxable, so this is going to even go into consideration of standard taxable account is going to be 875K, whereas the Roth IRA is 1.06 million, which is nice to see. Based off of an age of 26, annual income of 70,000, and a current savings of 1,000. So, boom, that's really good telling numbers there, which is awesome. Something to look forward to. Like I said, whenever you start taking money, you can take money out at 59.5. Let's put 59.5 there for just purposes. It's going to come down a little bit, so at 626K, so, which is awesome. But yeah, it's just something to look into, which is really nice. 40, and so let's say at 30 in 4 years, 29K, boom, $75 a month, 40, 308, 50. So time is your biggest asset, guys, here. But I just wanted to show you that. I think it's really cool, like I said. But a non-taxable account. So every type of money you make in dividends as well as growth, you are not taxed as of now for this standard tax laws. So I really appreciate you guys looking into this. Like I said, if you have any questions, please comment down below. If you stayed here till the end, I appreciate it. Please subscribe for weekly content, and I'll catch you on the next one. Appreciate it, guys.